And here we go. Digital Adele back with another Digital Adele Hoops Beyond the Backboard podcast for you. With my co-host, as always, Matt Hanifan. How are you doing today, Matt?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. Preseason's finally here. We're less than 3 weeks away from the start of the regular season.
Oh, thank
It's
God.
here. It's
Man,
here.
let me tell you, I think I asked the group this or asked somebody this. It feels like they're playing harder this preseason than they've ever played in the preseason. It seems like the teams are actually trying. They're playing actual defense. They're not just going through the motions. It felt like for a few years where the preseason was like the worst basketball I've ever seen. This preseason's actually been enjoyable.
To me, it's still like there's two sides of the coin where it's like, one, I love that basketball's back and like we get to watch like fresh new basketball that's being played. But then the second side of the coin, it's like, wait, the players that I want to watch and see how they're playing only play like 14 minutes a night. At least at the start. And so that's like, I understand why it's a ramp up period, but it's like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like, it's just like,
for sure.
There's like,
no, I get that.
Unless if you're watching, like, you want to watch some of the young guys, which obviously you and we both love that stuff. But like,
it's all I want.
If you want to see like Kevin Durant play for the Rockets, for example, or something like that,
he
like,
played quite a bit the other day.
Last night, but I'm just using him as example. Like, he's not playing 35 minutes a night, and you want to see how it looks and how it gels with the other starters and whatnot, especially with Fred VanVleet's injury and all that stuff. And it's just like, oh,
Reed Shepherd played pretty well.
I watched a little bit of his first game. He played well.
Yeah, he played pretty well. He's shooting the ball well. He's running the offense. The ball's not sticking. Turns it over every once in a while, but I mean, he's young. And he plays competitive defense. We'll put it that way.
But it's just like there's two sides of it where it's just like it after one or two preseason games, for me, it's like, okay, can we just start the regular season?
Right.
Like, can we just like the fast forward button in like 2K or whatever? Can you like
That's
can we just sim today?
Just sim to the regular season. There it is.
Yeah, but it's cool watching preseason basketball, and some of the guys that we talked about, we've watched a little bit in preseason.
Absolutely. And speaking of preseason basketball, we're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've watched 2 Minnesota Timberwolves games this preseason already. I actually haven't watched any Milwaukee preseason basketball. But we're going to start with Milwaukee because they only have one draft pick. And we're going to gloss over him very fast. And unfortunately, for all you Mega Basket fans, Bubalo Markovic is the player we're talking about. He's a center. He played in the Adriatic League. He's tall. He's tall. It's very difficult to evaluate players out of the Adriatic League because it's a different sport. They basically play rugby on a basketball court. And so it's very hard to predict which one of those players are going to be able to translate their game to the NBA.
And I don't know if you saw this, but he just played his first Mega Basket game again the other day.
Did he? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Man, starting already, I'm going to have to get on the old VPN and hop over. Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of work to do. I mean, he's got a nice touch for a big man, but he's very unpolished. Like, he's an unpolished diamond, as they say. He may not even be a diamond. He could just end up being coal.
One of the few draft and stash guys. I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but like,
right
now with 2-way contracts and the second round exception and all that stuff, like we're not it was a lot more popular a decade ago when it came to like the draft and stash, where it was like the end of the first round or the second round with some of these international guys. Obviously, you look around the NBA and it's a lot more global in the sense that like there's a lot more international players than there used to be, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's not, but there's just fewer draft and stash guys now. And so I think that's a little interesting, even though like he was the middle of the second rounder. I think it was like 47th, 48th overall.
Yeah. He was later in the draft process.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So I do want to pivot quickly to the Minnesota Timberwolves because it's infinitely more interesting. And I want
Yeah.
to talk about Johan Berger. Now, shameless plug. I wrote an article. I don't write a lot, but I wrote an article for the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I put it in the link in the description below. You can check it out if you want. And what I do is I go through each of the first round picks and I tell you if the pick was just right, if the player was overdrafted or underdrafted relative to the other players left on the board. And so, for example, I did Johan Berger, and he's 6'11, 230. He's a French center, played basketball in Slovenia. He was a defensive monster. He's much stronger than his frame suggests, and I believe he's going to be able to put on Giannis type muscle. Not saying he's Giannis, but he can put on Giannis type muscle. And the only reason I say he's overdrafted is because his offensive game is further behind Danny Wolf. Danny Wolf is the better all-around player, and he has such a unique skill set that it was very hard for me to pass up on. And with Berger on offense, he's basically a lob threat, right? He has a decent touch on his jump hook, but he has no footwork to get into his jump hook on a regular basis. So he's going to be a project on the offensive end. But he's a defensive monster. I really like this pick for Minnesota. What did you think of Johan Berger?
No, he's like, you see, he's raw offensively. He's a vertical spacer, a rim runner. He's not a shooter. To your point, like the footwork in the post game, he doesn't really have like an in between game in that sense. But defensively, like you see the versatility in terms of like, okay, if he puts on muscle, especially like core strength, upper body strength, stuff like that, like he's pretty thin coming out, but like if he puts on strength, like there's potential for him at least being like a 4 or 5 position defender. Like he can defend all 5 positions potentially. But right now that's not the case because I don't think he can defend fives. At least not yet, just because he's just that thin. But the shot blocking, especially, is something that really like popped when you put on the tape. And then obviously you saw in summer league his first summer league game, he had 6 block shots. He didn't have, I don't think he had more than 2 the rest of summer league, but he's still like a very good shot blocker, good timing, good coordination, which is something that I think is important. Like he's good in the pick and roll. He knows, what positions to be in at what time. But he's just very raw and like it's a project. I am very fascinated that Minnesota took him of all teams.
Right.
Because not only do they have one of the better centers in the league in Rudy Gobert, who I think Berger will be like a good mentee for Gobert.
Yeah, for sure.
Or at least I say better defensive centers. I don't think Rudy Gobert is one of the better centers, but that's a different.
He better not learn his jump hook footwork from Rudy. That's for sure.
No. But one of the better defensive centers. Obviously, all the defensive player of the years, you can say what you want about Rudy Gobert, but he's thrived in that kind of ecosystem. Yeah. But they're trying to win. And it's more of like, okay, you're taking a flyer on this project, quote unquote, albeit, I think what's 21, 22 overall. But it's like they have a good front court already. They traded for Julius
Berger was 17th overall.
Oh, 17th. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then. It will even more so. Like they have a good front court with Randall. They re-signed Nazari. They actually re-signed both of those guys this offseason. They kind of have like a set 8-9 man rotation there, depending on how you feel about Terrence Shannon. Obviously they did lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the offseason.
Yeah.
But they have like a set 8 or 9 already, or at least they did last year. And so I don't know how much time Berger is going to play as a rookie, but I think this is an interesting spot for him more long-term than short-term. Like, I don't know if you're going to get a ton short-term out of him. There could be injuries and whatnot, so he might be, able to play some spot minutes here and there. But as of right now, heading into the season with, all those guys fully healthy, knock on wood, that remains the case because obviously I'm not rooting for anyone to get hurt. I don't think he's going to play that much, but it is a very interesting landing spot because it's one of those teams where it's like, I think one of the last things they need is a center. To me, they had more of like a deficiency in terms of like the ball handling, shot creation, players outside of Anthony Edwards getting you buckets when it matters.
And that's why I said Danny freaking Wolf would have been a perfect fit for that team.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it could have been like a guy that you and I would have loved to have seen there is Yakachonis.
Oh, absolutely. Kasper Yakachonis.
That's kind of the player that I thought they kind of needed, especially with Mike Conley in the latter stages of his career. Again,
but I mean, if they wanted to go big,
sure.
That's the reason why I mention it. If they wanted to keep that size, but even Yakachonis is 6'6".
You're right.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't understand what these... Let's just deviate off our path for a second. What the heck is wrong with the NBA GMs this season? 6'6", 205 pounds, big, strong hands, broad shoulders, excellent feel for the game. How did he fall to 20, Matt Hanifan?
Well, it's that he fell to 20, and then I don't know if you saw the GM survey that came out.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't track. How does the GM survey say we messed this up already? Whenever the draft was just like a month or so ago.
Or yeah, it is kind of a weird. I mean, someone has to get picked for those awards. You know what I mean? Like someone has to be the steal of the draft, or who they think going to be the steal. Like they have to come up with an answer. But I do find that like a very funny.
Well, I'll do this with you, Matt. Yakachonis was drafted after. Tell me if you want the player that I mentioned or Yakachonis.
Well, okay. Well, you're telling this to someone who had Yakachonis 7th on his board.
I know, and I had him 8th. I know.
Of course, I'm going to say him. Like this isn't a discussion.
The viewer. So look, see the viewer. They may not necessarily remember that you had them 7th. And
I'm saying it right now, viewer.
I know you ruined the bit, man. You ruined the bit. But I'll go through a couple of the point guards that were drafted before Kasper Yakachonis. Nolan Traore, very small. Walter Clayton Jr., a little bit bigger, but still very small. And this one kills me. Jaeger Dolman was drafted 8th overall in the spot I thought Kasper Yakachonis was going to be drafted.
2 of the 3 guys you just named are on the same team.
Yeah, I know. The Nets are committing basketball malpractice. Although they did get Ben Saroff right, because I like the way that guy plays basketball.
And Danny Wolf.
And Danny Wolf, they got that right also. Although I conversely say the rest of the league made a mistake in just letting that unicorn fall. Because, again, 6 foot tall, 250. It's not like he's 6 foot super skinny. He's 250, and his handling and passing ability are special.
If you want to hear us talk more about the Nets and why we think they're going to win 48 games, go check out our Nets rookies only.
That's right.
Drop the link in the description.
That's right. I'll drop the link in the description of this video. Our New Jersey Nets rookies only, where we went through all 6.
Brooklyn,
I said
Nets,
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Man, I'm old, dude. That's like picturing Jason Kidd throwing alley-oops to Kenyon Martin.
I barely remember the New Jersey Nets. Does that mean I'm young?
Yeah, you're super young, dude. But anyway, the Brooklyn Nets, rookies only, where they had like 6 draft picks, and we went through all 6 of them. It was
5.
It was amazing, whatever episode. But we have one more guy to talk about on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's not shortchange the Minnesota Timberwolves fans that we have out there. Rocco Zikarsky. I liked this guy as soon as I saw him. I watched a lot of his games. And when I say a lot, I base my evaluations on 5 games or more. And so even for international guys, that's usually what I base my evaluations on, except for Jalen Wells. I watched one half of basketball whenever it was his draft time. And I got that one wrong. So that's why you watch 5 games. Anyway, Rocco Zikarsky, super young, 18 years old on draft night, 7'3", we just confirmed, without shoes. He's got long arms, big hands. He's a lob threat. He'll block shots. He rebounds and hustles. My man needs to get in better shape. I mean, his cardio is a work in progress. He's going to have to really get in the weight room and develop an NBA body. And he's going to have to really fix his jump shot mechanics. He has a decent touch on his jumper. Don't get me wrong. He's got a nice little lefty jumper, but he's going to have to clean up the mechanics if he's ever going to be able to space the floor in any capacity. Do you have any thoughts on Rocco Zikarsky, Matt?
Not too many additional ones. I mean, he's just a mountain. He's slow, but there is some like skills. I think the wrong word, but like to your point, he can block shots. He's more of like a
and he sets good screens.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just about to say. Like a good screen center. But even then, like they drafted 2 bigs. Again, this goes back to my earlier point. Like they're already kind of loaded in the front court.
Right.
He's probably going to spend a lot of time with the Iowa Wolves, for all my Iowa Wolves people out there.
Dude, how you remember all these G League affiliate franchises is beyond me, dude. You're an amazing savant.
Do I remember who plays for them most of the time, other than the Skyforce? No.
Yeah, literally the Sioux Falls Skyforce is like the only team I remember. So that's great. But yeah, that's all we have for today. I actually like their draft. I like the fact that they found these bigs. Is it the best way to build their roster? Probably not. But I think they picked 2 good players that are going to be valuable contributors in some point in the franchise, or be an asset they can flip and trade at some point as well. So I guess it's good team building in that sense. Do you have anything that you would like to add before we get out of here, Matt Hanifan?
I see again. I would have liked for them to just get like one shot creator, just one.
One shot creator would have been nice.
I do like Baron J's upside though, and I think when you're in the middle of the draft or you're toward the end, like you're betting on like best player available, whether that means upside or not is a different story. Right. But I think they got solid upside there. Yeah. It's just a matter of their player development. Like they've developed Naz Reid. So I trust that they're able to. Obviously, Naz Reid and Baron J are different players, different skills, but like they've developed him into being like one of the better backup bigs in the sport, if not the best backup big. Like he's legitimately really good and would be starting for the majority of teams.
Oh, this is what I meant to say. I think the Naz Reid Baron J combo could work because Naz can stretch the floor, and then you could have Baron J doing the rim running lob threat. So I think that could actually work.
They play double big lineups all the time with whether it's Randall and Gobert, whether it's Randall and Reid and Gobert. Like they'll mix them in. I just don't know how much Baron J is going to factor into that equation as a rookie, I guess.
Right.
But sure,
what I can say to the young fella is make the coaches have to play you. Play hard in practice. Be on your details. Don't make the same mistake twice. Get the conditioning down packed and make the coaches have to put you on the floor. But that's all we got for today. I'm Digital Adel. For the visitor that's in our playback room, don't forget to subscribe to become a part of our playback room so you don't have to be a visitor anymore. We do this show live Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually around 6:30, sometimes 7, if I forget Matt Hanifan's in town.
Yeah, Adele thought I was out of town today. Like that.
I don't know why, dude. I mean, the dementia's setting in quick. So, you can follow me on, Twitter under Digital Adele, Instagram digital_Adele, and anywhere social media is found. The podcast, Digital Adele Hoops, anywhere podcasts are found. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast. You can find it. Please support that. We're trying to grow that out. We also appreciate you here on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And Matt, tell the people where they can find you, follow, and get more of your work.
You could find me at NPH_824_ on Twitter. You could find me at hotoutHoops.com, VendettaSportsMedia.com, MountainWestConnection.com, Orlando Magic on SI. So si.com/NBA/magic or whatever the URL is. Playback.tv/digital Adel hoops and playback.tv/5RSN, where we'll be watching the Miami Heat play pretty frequently, whether they're good, bad, mediocre, or all of the above. They literally could. I mean, they
could literally be
good,
all of the above.
For like a couple minutes, they're good, and then there's another like 5-minute stretch during a game where they make us want to gauge our eyes out, and we make jokes about it and laugh about it and cry about it together. So please go check it out.
Absolutely. Check that out. Check out all Matt Hanifan has going on. The Sports Illustrated stuff is a big deal. Check out his Orlando Magic coverage there. I'm going to shamelessly plug the article on 5 Reasons Sports Network again that I wrote. It's in the description of the YouTube video. All of the thoughts I have on if the player was overdrafted or underdrafted in the 2025 NBA draft. It's something I do annually. This is the first time I've done it on 5 Reasons Sports website. So check it out. Let me know. I'll talk to you guys. See you next time.